Hey guys, today we're going to be showing you how to install a wheel on your bike.
We need to change the tyre on this front 26-inch wheel. So we've bought a new Mitas Ocelot, which is another 2.1 inch wide tyre that will be quite similar to this one at the moment, but as you can see this one's seen better days. So first, to get it off, we've let all the air out of the tube, so the thing's completely flat. Now you can, if you're having trouble, use a tyre lever, just a plastic tyre lever that you can get at any bike shop, which you would use to pry underneath the rim to pop it over the rim. Most tyres though will be able to pop off by hand if you've got enough strength. So let's see if I do. Just roll it over the rim. It's a bit of a help with the tyre lever. Golly, this is struggling. I don't think this tyre's been off in a very long time, that's the problem.
I think this tyre's been on since they bought the bike, and I think Max's back tyre. I think this one was taken.
You can see it's deteriorating.
Yeah. Yeah, the back was in shred, you can see.
Okay, this is an old tyre, so it's taken a bit of work, but basically once I've pulled it in and I've managed to lever a little bit of the rim tyre over the rim, then I can just pull it around. So now I've got one side of the tyre off, nice and sitting there, and hopefully I haven't damaged the tube at all, but you can see the tyre has just been on this bike way too long. So now if I know where my valve is, I don't want to go near the valve again. So I put the valve at the bottom. Now I need to pry this side of the tyre off, and I can just do that by hand. It becomes very easy then to just pull off. Like that. Unscrew the Presta nut, and then the rim will slide out. There we go. Car valve instead, which is called a Schrader valve, but if you have a car valve instead of this Presta valve, it'll be the same thing, you just won't have a thread to unscrew, but it'll just pop out of the hole as is. So now I'm going to pull the tube out of there, chuck that tyre away. Now put it into my new tyre, but you can see that's going to be quite hard while it's really floppy. So what I'm going to do, put a bit of air into this tube to give it a bit of a shape. So, trusty pump.
Also, what you can do when you're putting the tube in, it's good to put the tyre, the symbol of what brand it is, at the valve, so you always know where it is.
Okay, now I've got a bit of shape in my wheel, my tube, sorry. Stick it back in, and like Sam said, I'm going to put the valve near the logo. That's a really good tip. I'm just going to feed it back in here. Once it's in here, I'm going to let a bit more air out, but this just helps it getting it seated inside the tyre before I put it onto the rim. Now you can do this after you put half of the tyre on the rim. Some people do that. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't pinch it. Okay, one important thing with your tyre, when you buy your tyre, it will have an arrow telling you which way to put it on the wheel. So the arrow is pointing the way the wheel is going to turn.
Clockwise.
So I often see tyres, in fact the old tyre that was on it was put on backwards. So, and the reason they do that is that this tread is pointing, slanting forwards. So it's designed to throw water out while you're rolling forwards like this. So if I put it on backwards like this and I roll through mud, what it's going to want to do is push mud out sort of in the wrong direction. So that's why you've really got to pay attention to which way the arrow is marked on your tyre and put it on that way. Okay. Find the hole in the rim, pop it through, get the nut, wherever I put the nut, you know where the nut's gone?
Yeah, that's it.
Screwed the nut back on just to keep it seated. Okay, now I'm going to concentrate on putting half of the wheel back on. Hang on, let's do that again because you know what happened?
What?
The arrow on the wrong way. The brake is the disc is on your left, isn't it?
Yeah.
The disc brake. So it's got to be that way and rolling forward. So where's the logo? There's
Oh, is there?
there you go.
Wow, we did exactly what we
I know,
said
it
not
happens
to do.
all the time because it doesn't really matter unless you're riding through really wet puddles and things all the time. Even then, it'll still work. It just won't work as well. Okay. So I've screwed the Presta valve back in, so I know where my tube is. Now I've got to work around from the valve to get the first side, not both sides on, but just the first side of the tyre over the bead. Okay, so now I've got to concentrate on this side. So what I do, I'm going to start by seating the valve side first, give it a bit of a push in, screw that up a bit more. Okay, now mountain bike tyres are pretty easy to push on by hand. You don't need a lever. So you just work your way around to the top. Make sure the tube is well inside the tyre and it's flat again so that I don't have to deal with a tube with air in it. Now what I'm going to do is put my palms onto the tyre at this last little bit where I've got about 20 centimetres still to go, and I'm just going to roll that over the rim. Pop, like that. Okay, make sure it's all sitting nicely and snug in there. Next thing to do is pump it up. Okay, so my pump's on. So when I'm pumping up, I'll do this at home when I have a gauge so I can actually determine, but because we're on the road, this is a bit of literally a side of the road job. I'm going to pump it up, and what you want is for this bead, and it's called the bead around a tyre, to pop into place on the rim. Okay, we've got it up to full pressure now, so make sure you've screwed the valve nut shut if you've got a Presta valve, otherwise that will press in all the time. Cap back on. And good to go.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this one. And also make sure to leave a like rating down below.